This art studio is my pride and joy. It's the most cherished room in my entire apartment, so you can imagine how shocked and terrified I was this morning when I saw this. It's infested. We're basically under attack. I got a full-on bug infestation at home, and it's coming from my art room. Hi everyone, I'm Philippa, I'm in my art studio, and today's video is going to be all about an insect infestation that I'm having here. I just found some tiny little black bugs all across the studio and I'm very grossed out, but I want to go through everything, basically take everything off the shelves and get all my art sorted. I'm going to take the opportunity to do a very deep clean of the entire studio, and I thought, it might be an aesthetic thing to kind of watch. I do have like 3 plants in the studio that have been here for a really long time, and I think maybe, it might be the case that one of them developed a disease or something and has created these tiny little bugs. I want to go through every single shelf. I haven't gone through these things in a really long time, so I think it's time for me to also see what I have, do some clearing as well. So let's go. This is going to be an aesthetic art vlog, very quickly turned into a clean with me video, plus you definitely want to stick with me to find out where these devilish bugs have come from and avoid this ever happening to you too. To be honest, this is a pretty long overdue cleaning. For us artists who make physical works, be it canvas painting or painting on paper, sculpture, we really need to pay attention to the dust accumulation, because if you're not on top of it, it piles up. So the first thing I'm doing, apart from catching all the bugs that I lay my eyes on, is dusting these babies. It's part of the process that it will get messier before it gets better, so don't be discouraged when your room starts looking like this and you have a bunch of piled stuff. Trust yourself, you're gonna get through it. That's also what I'm telling myself right now. Once you declutter your workroom, you'll see that it just looks and feels so spacious. I haven't realized how much workable room I actually have that is purely dedicated to holding my canvases on an almost permanent basis. This is really inspiring me to move things around more often and better utilizing the space that I have. I am thinking these bugs might have laid their tiny invisible eggs everywhere, and I need to get to them before they hatch. At this stage, I probably killed about 100 bugs, and they keep popping out the most unsuspected places. But finally plugging in my screen and seeing all my electronics working out again after a good cleanup, it makes me feel like some normalcy is restored and we're getting to a better place. This art studio had never been this clear before, so that's something I'm really proud of, but I keep seeing bugs popping up and I'm starting to be a little frustrated that I don't think it has anything to do with the plants. They're no longer in the room. And hey, this is day 2 of studio cleaning. We're gonna get back into the studio and deal firstly with the plants and then start to put everything back into the shelves, since yesterday, we got everything sorted and cleaned. I've quarantined these plants and sprayed them with baking soda on both sides just to prevent any bug eggs from growing there. Today is basically a day for getting everything back in their proper places. Yesterday I fully cleaned the studio and then also found out the source of the bug infestation, which is something that I can't wait to share with you. It was really difficult to actually get to the source of it, but we did. You can tell I am getting a bit paranoid here. The plants were all looking so healthy that I started to realize they probably were not the origin of my bug problem. So after many hours of cleaning the studio, taking everything out their places and putting everything back in, I started to realize that most bug movement could be traced to this wall, where I have the wardrobe that actually holds all my art supplies. And looking closely at the wardrobe itself at this point, I could see that it actually had a lot more bugs on it than I was finding in any other place around the studio or apartment at this stage, and I have killed by now about 1,000 individual bugs. I'm a serial killer at this point. But this is quite suspicious, so I'm really grossed out, honestly. I can only manage to get in there with 2 sets of gloves, but we need to get to the bottom of this. And so we did. And despite my original suspicion, this had nothing to do with my plants, although I think some of these bugs might have been taking advantage of them after getting here. But you know how they say basically all artists are hoarders? Well, In my experience, this is definitely true. At least it's true of myself. The fact that these bugs were spreading from my art supplies wardrobe was no coincidence. Basically, I found a huge disgusting nest of crawlies and larvae inside a random bag of cherry seeds that I had collected. God knows for what. You know, one of those things that you pick up and think that one day you might use for some sort of art project, and then it just ends up not happening, and now you just have a set of materials that sit there for eternity, or I mean in this case until they develop life of their own and force me to throw them out. That's it, that's how the studio ended up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you the inspiration you needed to go ahead and do the same with your space. I'll see you in the next one.